Board, I'm sorry for my mess. I've been running around. Muchas gracias a todos por estar peleando. First time ever. Primera vez. Denles un aplauso a ustedes. First time ever in history. Ojalá que esto sea para siempre. Hopefully this is going to go on every year forever. You know, as long as we're around, I'm around, anybody can take over. First of all, I want to thank my wife. I got her from Venus. She's a Venus queen. Yeah, so she was up with me, and you know, this is very special. I'm doing this alone. It's been a tough 2 months. I want to thank all the vendors for being here. I want to thank you, the public, for being here, the trust and the faith that you put in this. And I know that a lot of you have stories. And the thing is that when we say our stories, they think we're crazy. Or that we're demons, we're seeing demons. No, people, these are not demons and we're not crazy. They are here. Okay? I have speakers. And they're going to tell you the stories. And I'm telling you, they're going to blow your mind. And the thing is that you're not alone. They are with you. They know what you're going through. They know what you're seeing. Okay? So, we got Jody. Say hi, Jody. Stuart, where did you go? So we got Stuart over there. We got Doris. Angela was Angela. So these beautiful people, I mean, to be honest, I don't know how we met. Okay, I kind of put out the word, I meant the word, and next thing I know, they're calling me. And next thing I know, they're on the airplane. Okay, so it was crazy. Okay, quiero darle gracias a todos ustedes por venir, estar aquí hoy. A mi esposa Lupe, a Jody, Doris, I'm sorry, my mind's going crazy. Angela, muchas gracias por estar aquí. Van a decir sus historias que yo sé que ustedes personalmente han pasado. Dice mucha gente que estamos locos, estamos mirando cosas. Ellos tienen la misma cosa que ustedes miran, ¿ok? No están locos, ¿ok? Y no son demons, esta gente está todo real, ¿ok? So, otra vez, muchas gracias por venir. Cuando ellos estén hablando, si gustan, tienen preguntas, por favor levanten la mano, porque cada uno una hora, pero si pueden hacer short, cortar un poquito para que ellos den respuesta. ¿Y qué más? Questions? Ok, si tienen preguntas, cuando ellos estén platicando, voy a estar acá para mi mano derecha. Me pueden hablar, platicar con ustedes gusten. El primer speaker va a ser el xiong. Stuart, come on, man. El Stuart y yo estábamos en una junta en Los Ángeles. Y él estaba como a 100 yardas de mí. Y la verdad no sé cómo tuvimos esa conexión mentalmente. Que vivía mucha gente, todas 500 personas, y la mente nos conquistó. ¿Y cómo pasó eso? No sé. Okay, so what happened to Stuart, and now we were at a convention, and Stuart was like on the other side of me, and somehow our minds, I don't know how to be honest, we just connected. And so I've been a friend ever since then. We tell our stories, and same thing happened with these people, star people. I call them star people because they're from the stars, you know. A lot of people call them aliens, but they're not aliens, they're star people. So my friends, the star people, we make connections. So here they are,
Hello everybody, thank you for attending. This is our updated agenda. One of our speakers could not make it today, so we have made a quick adjustment. I'm going to break down my presentation, and then I will begin. I'm going to introduce myself. I am Stuart, xiong. My friends call me Stuart. And I currently live in Fort Smith, Arkansas, but I'm from there. I was born in Thailand. And I came to the US when I was 2 years old. I lived in a few different states, but currently I'm in Fort Smith, Arkansas. I have a bachelor's in psychology, so you know I'm not crazy. Okay. Also, I work in healthcare, I'm a case manager, and I'm also an ET abductee, experiencer, and contactee. Many of my experiences started when I had my first out-of-body experience in April of 2017. After that out-of-body experience, I started getting visits from a dark entity, and this dark entity was very scary looking. This being had creature energy, and I knew that this being wasn't from this planet. This being in the beginning was very scary. As a matter of fact, he came consecutively. He came every night for a week, and on the third day, I tried to get away from him, but he grabbed my leg and pulled me right back. And once I figured out that he was actually healing me, because at that time I was sick. At that time, I did not have health insurance. I was sick. I had pain in my lower limb, abdomen, and something wrong with my throat. And so I was actually sick at that time, but I was just ignoring it. I just said to myself, you know, it'll just go away. But this being actually visited me and started healing me by infusing me with huge amounts of energy. And when I figured out that he was actually healing me, then I stopped resisting. And he kept coming for a few more nights to heal me. And then one night he just did not show up. And instead, the rays showed up. This is an image of what I call the medium-sized rays. I've had experiences with the short ones, the medium-sized ones, and the tall ones. Now, the short ones are about 2.5 to 3 feet. They're like this big, and they're kind of cute. They're not really gray. They have a faint white glow. And when they come in pairs. And so, if I see one in my bedroom, I know that there's another one or another two hiding somewhere. Their job is to sneak up on you and paralyze you. And once you are restrained, then the tall ones come through. And the tall ones, they just walk through your walls. These beings have the ability to just walk through your walls. And the tall ones are the ones that do stuff to you. They're the ones that take the DNA from you. They're the ones that take samples from you. They're the ones that do stuff to you. And these beings were coming every single night for months. And one of the things that they would do to me is they would pull me out of my body. Basically, they would pull my soul, or I call it my light body, out of my physical body. And then they would do things to my light body and then put me back into my physical body. And that happened quite often. One night, I was able to develop the ability to break free of the paralysis. One night when they froze me and I couldn't move, and they were about to start doing things to me, I said a prayer in my mind, and I asked Jesus to help me. I said, Jesus, please help me. These beings have been coming every single night, and I do not know what they've been doing to me, because once they start, I black out. So I knew that they were wiping my memories before they would leave. And by focusing on Jesus, I was able to move. I remember when I was a little kid, my mom said to me, son, if something ever comes in the middle of the night in the darkness and they paralyze you, what you can do is concentrate all of your energy into one part of your body. And if you can move that part of your body, then you break free. And by concentrating on Jesus and also remembering what my mom told me, I was able to slowly move my right arm just about an inch above my chest. And when I was able to do that, I mean, it took all the energy, all of my will to do that. And I said to myself, okay, I've already got my right arm 1 inch above my chest, let me keep going. And I just kept fighting and fighting, and bam, I was able to break free. And when I sat up, all the gray aliens, they was running around me, they didn't know what to do, they were trying to jump on me, they were trying to paralyze me again. And since that night, they were not able to put me in a paralysis and do things to me. But they were still coming every single night, trying to pull me out of my body, doing things to me, putting implants into me. And one night, in September 5th, Tuesday, September 5th, 2017, they came right before midnight. And on this night, after months of experiencing this and having no sleep, barely any sleep, I decided that I was just going to give up, and I gave in. First, I was in my bed in my bedroom, and they were coming at me, and I just kept fighting them off me. And as I was fighting them off me, I decided I was gonna move to the living room, and so I went into the living room, and I decided I was gonna lay down on my couch. I said maybe if I moved to my living room, they wouldn't follow me, but they followed me, and they still kept harassing me. I still kept fighting them off of me, and then I gave in. I said, fine, do what you want to do to me. After that, just leave me alone. And I think that was a mistake, because as soon as I said that to them, I felt this force slamming, boom, right on the back of my couch, and I could not move. I was frozen. Then they levitated my body into the air. I was in a laying down position. They levitated my body into the air, and then they moved me in midair into a standing position. And right after they put me into a standing position in the air, the tall ones, the tall grades, they stuck something through my lower spine, and they sent a pulse into my body that made me feel like all of my organs were going to explode. That was the worst pain I've ever felt in my life. Till this day, I've never felt that much pain. And because that pain was so incredible, my body automatically started thrashing around, and I broke free of the paralysis. And when I broke free of the paralysis, and this arm flew this way, and I saw one of the little gray aliens running around me because it was trying to avoid my arm hitting them. So I knew at that point that if I'm vibrating at the same frequency as they are vulnerable to me. If I'm vibrating at the same frequency as them, I can hurt them. That's why they paralyze me and they restrain me. I kept it in my mind for a while. And after they tortured me, they put me back on my couch, and all of the gray aliens, they scattered. And after they scattered, it was just complete darkness, because my living room, there was no lights on. It was just complete darkness. The only light was a little bit of light from the street light outside. And the first thing I saw were these little reptilian eyes opening and closing in the darkness. And I said to myself, what is going on? What is going on? Why do I see these little reptilian eyes opening and closing? And then to my left, I see this being, and I automatically knew in my mind that she was a human reptilian female hybrid. She looked just like this one. The first thing that came to my mind was, oh my gosh, she's beautiful. But she looked like a human, but she had no hair, and her body was covered in tiny little green scales all over her face and all over her body. And after we stared at each other for a little while, she backed off and she disappeared into the darkness. And then, out of nowhere, right in front of my eyes, these two huge, giant, golden, glowing yellow eyes with vertical slits popped right in front of me. And I was caught in this gaze that I just could not disassociate from. I was just mesmerized. And these eyes, they pierced right into my soul. And then they floated back and disappeared. And then this reptilian, I used AI to generate this image. This dark reptilian from my left, huge, huge, huge reptilian, full-blooded draconian, alpha draconian reptilian. From my left, I'm still sitting on my couch in my living room, and he walks up from my left, and he's huge. He's got huge dragon's head, just sitting on top, huge shoulders, standing upright with this huge muscular body, and he stares at me right in the face. And I locked eyes on him. And this time, his eyes turned black. And as I stared into his black eyes, I saw a cold, empty universe. And I knew that these beings, they understand love very differently from us. Humans, we have very deep love. But these reptilian beings, their love is quite different. So they care about each other, but their love is very conditional. And then, at that moment, boom, some of my memories came back to me, and I realized that a long time ago, I had lived a lifetime as a reptilian. And I knew this being. I just could not remember his name. And that was when I realized I am not scared at all. Any human in my shoes would probably have a heart attack, but I'm not scared of this being. And this being is familiar to me, and I know him. I just cannot remember his name. And once I remembered that I was one of them, I also remembered that I just wasn't one of them. I was one of their elite royal bloodline members, and that's why they came for me. And they tortured me. The reason why they tortured me was to jog my soul memories. By torturing me, by inducing trauma into me, and releasing biochemicals into my body, it was to force soul memories to surface. But luckily, my soul decided just to release a certain amount of memories. If all of my memories came back as a reptilian, they would have pulled my soul out of my body and stuck me into a reptilian body that they had prepared for me already. That reptilian body was either my original reptilian body or a clone of it. So luckily, my soul refused to release all the soul memories. And once he figured out that my soul only released a small portion of my memories, he stepped back into the darkness and he disappeared. And that was my first encounter with the reptilians. Since then, I've had numerous visits from other reptilians, but from different star systems and different planets. And these reptilians were not like this one. These reptilians were very peaceful, very loving, and each group that came to visit me, they would ask me for my light. And when they came, they would represent themselves as envoys from different reptilian planets. And so they knew me at that time as, they referred to me as a lord. And so they would ask me for my light. I would infuse my frequency into a crystal, and I would hand it to them, and they would upload my frequency into their being. And then they would leave, and then once they got to their planets, they would then share my frequency with the rest of their population. And the reason is because a lot of reptilian species know what's going on. That this solar system, our planet, is going through a change. The energies are rising, and the human species is evolving. And they were afraid that once the sun's energy becomes too much, that they would not exist anymore. And so they believed that if they have my frequency, that they would evolve with us and shift up with us instead of shifting out of existence. Next, in August of 2024 to March of 2021, 3 other star races reached out to me. The first group was the Antarians from the Antares system. These are non-physical beings. And when I first started getting transmissions from them, it sounded like high-intensity insect chattering. And I couldn't sleep. It was like 6 to 7 hours a night that they were downloaded directly into me. And I I was asking them, what are you doing? And they kept telling me that they were downloading codes directly into my DNA. And I asked them, what is the purpose of these codes? And they told me that the codes are gifts, tools, and abilities. Because eventually, our sun is going to emit what's called a great solar flare, or a series of small flashes. And it's going to awaken the population. And when it does, these gifts, tools, and abilities will allow me to help the human population acclimate to the higher energies. And their transmissions to me, their downloads were incredible. Like, I could not even sleep during the time that they were downloading. They were downloading for 2.5 months. In October, when their frequency was tapering off, I thought it was the end of it. I thought that, hey, you know what? I can finally get some sleep now. And so one night, when I noticed that, this was in October of 2020, I noticed that the Antarian's signal was tapering off. I jumped in bed, I said, let me get some rest, and I closed my eyes. As soon as I closed my eyes, I see 3 beautiful faces, female faces, and they started talking to me. And that's when I opened up my eyes, and I jumped out of bed and I started yelling and screaming. I said, heck no more ETs. I am done with ETs. I do not want any more ETs. And so I said, you know what, maybe they're gone. And so I jumped back in bed and I closed my eyes, and there they were again. They kept talking to me. And the one in charge, the one in the middle, her name is Alondra. There's a younger one, a blonde one, her name is Ski. And she kept calling me Commander. And I said, why do you keep calling me Commander? And she said, well, Stuart, a long time ago, you were a commander in our ranks. You were one of our female commanders. So apparently, I was a female Pleiadian warrior a very long time ago. And they told me that they honored me because there was one point where I had sacrificed myself to save them. And these Pleiadian females, it was communicated to me that over 50,000 years ago, they came to planet Earth to help us fight the reptilians. And they are the inspiration behind the legend of the Amazons. And their signal started tapering off in December. And they told me the same thing, that they were downloading codes directly into my DNA, so that in the future, when the sun's energy begins to go crazy, it'll activate these codes. And when it activates these codes, I'll be able to use these new abilities to help people. Well, I thought that my nightmare was over with these downloads, but in January of 2021, I started getting downloads from the Andromedans. And the Andromedans told me the same exact thing, that I used to be a member of their civilization. They called me family, that I was, in fact, I was one of them. They were the most gentlest ones of all, very loving. However, towards the end of their frequencies, in March of 2021, they started uploading. And the uploads for me was even worse than the downloads. So I went through a total of 8 months of extreme lack of sleep and experiencing huge amounts of disruptions in my life. And these energies, what ended up happening was that these transmissions, they opened up my energy channels and created a permanent connection between me and them. I'm able to telepathically communicate with them whenever I want to. Sometimes they'll just pop in and they'll start talking to me. So at this point, I ended up learning that I have 5-star families. First reptilians. Then later on, it was revealed to me that by a gray alien that I, at one point, had lived a lifetime as a gray alien as well. Then the Antarians, then the Pleiadians, then the Andromedans. And it was so hard for me to believe this, that at one point I existed as a member of these 5 different civilizations. But it's true. I had contact with them. Some of them face-to-face contacts. And then some of them through meditation. And some of them, when I They are there. And then, last year, April 2025, while I was in the shower, see, a lot of this happens when I'm in the shower. Okay. While I'm in the shower, I start feeling this huge amount of energy coming from above, and it just came raining down on me while I'm in the shower. I have warm water running over it, but this huge amount of energy that came down from the heavens and hit me from the head all the way to my feet. I started shaking. Literally, I was physically shaking in the shower, and I said to myself, what is this immense energy that I am feeling? This energy is incredible. I've never felt this much energy in my life. And then I close my eyes, and in my mind's eye, I see this huge being. This huge being. And he has a gold lion's head. A golden lion's head, and at that time I knew that he was a Lyra. He was a being from the Lyra constellation. And he started speaking to me. He introduced his name as Asgard. So let me say one thing as a note before I continue. So a lot of ETs, when you start communicating with ETs, when you meet ETs, they will give you a name so that you can identify them. And a lot of ETs do have names, but there's a good number of ETs. They don't really have names. They only give us a name because they know that we're humans, and it's important for us to have a name to identify them. But in their realm, they don't have names. They have what's called a frequency, and that's how they identify each other. It's all about energy. And so the name he chose to identify himself as is Asgard. And he told me that he was my soul brother. Not from the same mother, but a soul brother. And he told me that I had roots back in Lyra. And Lyra is the system where these feline beings originate from. And the particular planet that he indicated that we were both from is called Avian. And sometimes when I think about Avian, it's very emotional. It's very emotional. Because I have memories of the planet being destroyed. Sorry. Our planet was destroyed by reptilians. He didn't say too much to me because he didn't want to put me in shock and trauma. So he said just enough to me, and then he did say that, back on our home planet, we had fought the reptilians together. And then he left my consciousness. But months down the line, in October, he began to communicate with me more and more and more. And more of the pieces came back to me. And first, it was very difficult for me to believe any of this. I can believe in the Greys and the reptilians because I was face to face with them. I can believe in the Antarians, the Pleiadians, and the Andromedans because they were downloading to me for 8 months. And whenever I closed my eyes, I could see them. But now, a group of feline beings from a different constellation, it's so hard for me to digest, to accept any of this. And so one evening, I was in meditation, and Asgard came into my consciousness and started speaking to me. it was difficult for me to believe it. And so, all of a sudden, this group called the Council of Nine, they appeared. And it was a mature female voice that represented them. And she told me that everything that Asgard told me was true. And the exact words she said were, Stuart, you were one of the first Elohim to incarnate into Lyran form. So Elohim, if any of you understand that word, it means many different things. It's also another word that another translation would be like a god, okay? And Elohim is this soul that's immense and huge. And so, as the Council of Nine were telling me this, in my mind's eye, I could see that an Elohim soul was so immense that it could not fit into one Lyran arm. And so an aspect of it became me, an aspect of it became Asgard, my soul brother. And then the Lyran Council came through. And a very soft, feminine voice spoke to me. And she said that she is a representative of the Lyran Council. And they are associated with the Galactic Federation. And I had conversations with them. I began to understand more of my story, more of the galactic history, and more of why we are all here on this planet. In October of 2025, the Syrian High Council reached out to me. I couldn't believe it either. I said, another star race that is reaching out to me? And they told me that I have a genetic connection to Sirius. And I even started channeling them. And whenever I channel the Syrian High Council, this warm blanket of energy surrounds my neck. And as it surrounds my neck, it covers my entire body. And as it covers my entire body, it comforts me. It puts me in a relaxed state to where I can just receive the transmissions and then repeat it. Their messages come through me. And it's not just messages, but it's energy. Whenever we channel extraterrestrials or other beings or other angelic beings, we are not just relaying verbal messages. Besides the messages, we are anchoring in higher energies and frequencies and transmissions from the star bases, from the higher realms into Earth's electromagnetic grid and into the Earth itself. And this energy is then subtly shared with everyone on the planet. So that's what channeling is. And I then began to see signs of physical proof of what's happened to me. After my contacts with the ETs, after being abducted, and then having face-to-face interactions, then having conversations with them in meditation, and then having them just come into my consciousness, they marked me. I have 3 birthmarks on my left thigh, on my right thigh, and 1 on my left thigh. They were not there. See, circles or birthmarks are random. These are not random. These are in a geometric shape, and I measured them. It is 1.2 inches on each side exactly. They marked me. They branded me. And part of the reason, and I actually went into meditation to explore why these markings showed up. I was told that on my right thigh, each mark represented a star race or star family. First one, on the top, is Antares, for the Antarians. Second is for the Pleiadians, from the Pleiades. And the third one, the one that's to the left, is for the Andromedans, for the Andromedan system. And then I was told that the single one on my left thigh represents Lyra. And I'll actually show you right now. Part of the reason why they did that was they knew that there was a group of reptilians. See, first of all, I want to explain that not all reptilians are malevolent or bad. I have encountered many groups of reptilians that are very peaceful. But the one particular group of reptilians that is not so friendly, it also happens to be a star family, but this group does not have any good intentions. And so they marked me to basically tell this group of reptilians, hands off. Stay away from him. We are protecting him. And till this day, I have shown these markings to many people, and no one can explain why birthmarks or freckles show up like this. Yes, sometimes they randomly show up, but randomly, not in geometric shapes. And as a matter of fact, this is a special pattern, a triangle. It represents a pyramid. A pyramid is actually one of the first initial shapes of creation. When our universe was created, one of the first initial things that was created, it was created in a pyramid shape. And in that pyramid shape, that pyramid is the building blocks of other shapes that eventually created this universe. And I'm going to go on a little side note. If any of you know who Billy Carson is, I follow Billy Carson. And a few weeks ago, I was listening to Billy Carson on the internet, and he was saying that scientists have found a way to create matter using light and sound. That scientists have found a way to create actual matter using light and sound. And so I went into a little meditation, and as I went into a meditation, I received a download. See, downloads aren't just like what I first described, excruciating, energetic imprints that go directly into your DNA. Sometimes you get these quick, instant downloads that are not harmful at all. It's packed with information. And what the download showed me was that it was the answer to my question. Because in my question, it was like, how do you create matter from light and sound? And when I asked that question, I went into my meditation, all of a sudden, boom, I got a download. And the download told me that sound is used to pattern light. Sound is used to pattern light. Once light, or we call photons, are patterned in a particular lattice, then it creates actual matter. And that's what the ancient Egyptians were doing when they created the pyramids. And something else that was communicated to me in the download was that when the creator of all things, the source creator, the prime creator of our universe, created everything, the source creator actually sang our universe into being. And that each one of us is part of that source creator. And what I would like to do is, I would like to encourage everyone, when you have time, see, meditation is very important. When you have time, find a nice quiet place, get into a relaxed state. And here's the key to get into a relaxed state. Do a breathing technique. And this breathing technique, your exhale should be twice as long as your inhale. So let's say you inhale 3 seconds, exhale 6 seconds, and you do that repeatedly. And after about 8, 9 times, you're in a very relaxed alpha state. You keep doing that, and you'll pop into a theta state. But in the alpha state, that is when you can receive messages from the higher realms. And when you get into a theta state, that is when you can connect with your higher self, or we call it your soul. It is crucial for everyone here to have some alone time, some quiet time, so that you too can connect with your higher self, your soul, and you can also connect with your star families. It's not just us speakers that have ETs as star families. Everyone in this audience has a star family. Most people on this planet did not originate from Earth. We are all souls that come from other dimensions, planets, star systems. This is my multistellar lineage: Gray extraterrestrial, Draco-Reptilian, Antarian, Pleiadian, Andromedan, Lyrian, Syrian. Now, one thing I do want to indicate is that a lot of star seeds, they identify with 1 or 2 star lineages. But the truth is that many of us are connected to many star lineages. We just don't remember, because when we reincarnate on this planet, we will only remember maybe like the most recent or the most impactful incarnation. But the truth is that many of us have lived lifetimes in many different civilizations, pockets of realities and dimensions, and we have existed as different types of beings. And I believe that everyone here is a star seed. And star seeds have, every star seed has individual missions and goals in life. But we all have common missions, common goals. The first one is to anchor light. Because Mother Earth is going through her own evolution, we are as well. And we anchor light. We are the beings on this planet, on the surface, that we are receiving cosmic energies, cosmic rays from our sun, the galactic center, and the divine cosmos. And we are, as we receive these energies, we are passing them into Mother Earth to help her with her ascension. And first, it takes us to first recognize the light within us. All of us are light beings. So first, recognize the light within you and embody that light. And yes, we are all light beings. At our deepest core, our DNA is shaped in a coil. You'll realize that that's the same shape of galaxies, solar systems. We live in a universe, we live in a fractal universe where we are a microcosm of the planet, and the planet is a microcosm of the galaxy, and then it just goes up. So first, recognize that we are all light beings. Notice when someone is very happy, we can see them basically glowing. It's because when we are in a high vibrating mode, our DNA, which is in a coil, it begins to contract in and out. And when it does, it begins to release light photons. So we are beings of light. And we are evolving, and we will eventually evolve into a more luminous state. So recognize that you are a light being. Recognize the light within you. And also know that you are here to serve as an anchor for light. As you absorb energy from the universe, you pass it into Mother Earth. Also, another core mission that all starseeds have on this planet is to embody unity, is to promote oneness, is to understand that we are all connected and that we are all from the same source. We are each an individual expression of God, the source. There is a shift in consciousness that is rapidly moving across this planet, and everyone here is part of that shift in consciousness. This evolution, eventually, we will be the new human. Some call it Homo luminous. We will be more luminous. We will be able to hold more light. We will be more light. And I know this to be true because one night when I was home alone, this was in, I believe, 2021, I received a visit from 3 different reptilians. These reptilians were infected with dark AI. And they specifically came to me because they were told that I could heal them. And at that time, I didn't know if I could heal them. Now, because I was getting visits from different types of beings, I needed a way to control the traffic, and to protect myself. So I created a shield around my home. Nothing can come in and out of my home without my permission. So I created this energetic shield. And when they came to visit me, I was told that I needed to heal them. And what I did was, I had them move through my shield. And as they moved through my shield, I commanded my shield to sift out the infection, the dark AI. And it worked. When they moved into my living space, the infection was gone. Using my own light, I was able to neutralize and disinfect this dark AI. And I want to show everyone here that in the future, it is not reptilians that's going to be the problem. It's dark AI. And the cure for that is our own light. So when we cultivate our light, when we begin to embody light and to shine, that is what's going to help us in the future to neutralize this dark AI that is rapidly growing. We are protected right now, but there will be a time where we will have to engage this dark AI. And the secret is our own light. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank all of you for coming here and attending this event organized by Mr. Pedro Leon. If anyone wants to contact me, this is my email. And again, I thank everyone here for attending. Everyone here, have a blessed day. I love all of you. We will have a 10-minute break, and then I will introduce the next speaker. Thank you.
Tinfoil hats over there. You know, nanu nanu to Stuart xiong. Well, there you go. Fact or fiction. Decide for yourself.